The Jalisco New Generation Cartel took the fight to the next level, shooting down a military helicopter with a rocket-propelled grenade, killing people, 6 of them, last week.
If organized crime was an art, very few criminals would be labeled worthy artists. CJNG, or the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, is one of the deadliest drug cartels. They originated in Mexico, deal in drugs and violence, and are considered one of the most brutal and merciless drug cartels in the world. Come join us as we explore the darkest acts of brutality committed by this infamous drug cartel and learn what they've been up to in recent years.
The Millennium Cartel splintered over, and one of those splinters was Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación, the CJNG.
The CJNG was founded sometime in the early 2010s as a splinter group from the Sinaloa cartel. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, also known as El Mencho, is the leader of the CJNG. Under his reign, Cartel Jalisco has committed some of the deadliest crimes that have shaken the whole world. He was also linked with the Milenio Cartel and the infamous Valencia crime family. Coming from a criminal background and having allied with 2 other criminal families enabled El Mencho to build a team that spoke the language of violence fluently. He had all the finances and skills to create a gang that would overpower all the others in the territory and become the deadliest drug cartel in the world. Staying true to its roots, CJNG has always been well known for their organized strategies and tactics. Even in a state of panic, their approach is extremely well thought out. They use advanced weaponry and know how to fight with a cool head, even in the most dire situations.
They have a very intelligent strategy, which is basically branding themselves and looking like paramilitary power.
To date, the group has branded uniforms with the 4 letters CJNG on their vests. Their appearance would fool anyone into thinking that they are actually from the military. They also drive handmade tanks, announcing that they're ready for a war at any time of the day. Despite their intimidating appearance, Cartel Jalisco members claim to be non-violent. They say they have ethics to live by and never hurt any innocent soul.
A mí no puede haber alguien que diga secuestramos, robamos o extorsionamos. Nosotros no nos dedicamos a eso. Nosotros nos dedicamos, somos narcotraficantes. Nosotros producimos, exportamos y vendemos droga. Eso es lo.
But given their track record, it's pretty obvious that these claims are absurd and blatant lies. The Cartel Jalisco seems to take great pride in their leader and his principles. They also claim that their leader, El Mencho, is one of the nicest people and likes to stick to ethical practices.
Yo sé quién es el patrón, señor Don Mencho, una persona muy honorable y las personas que lo conocen saben la calidad de persona que es.
But his track record surely disagrees. Despite the claims, the war fatigue seems to have caught up with the Jalisco members as well. One of them appeared for a public interview and expressed his desires with the interviewer. Although his identity was hidden, his desires truly managed to touch hearts. He wishes that all of this would be over in the next 15 years, and they could perhaps live a normal life and raise a family. But due to the nature of their operations, this might just remain as wishful thinking. Over the years, Cartel Jalisco has mastered drug trafficking, smuggling large quantities of illicit drugs, including cocaine, methamphetamine, heroin, and fentanyl, into the United States and many other countries. In fact, they are one of the major suppliers of drugs to the United States.
The DEA says his cartel, called Cartel Jalisco, or CJNG, is responsible for roughly a third of the drugs entering this country by land and by sea.
Oregon towns have become a very easy target for this cartel. Their members lived there and supplied drugs to the rest of the country. According to reports, their activity has spread in all continents, except Antarctica. So there's no place in the world where they don't have operations or reach, making them one of the most successful illegal businesses in history. So naturally, their distribution network is extremely strong, discreet, and almost enviable. DEA and other officials have been chasing them for a long time, but haven't managed to put a stopper on their illicit drug smuggling. One possible reason for this is the sheer number of members at play. CJNG is a huge organization and has more manpower than DEA, and they also happen to work worldwide and are very difficult to track. Within Mexico, the cartel runs a monopoly in Mexico City, whereas in other states, they have to fight to retain their territory. The brutal gang wars have already seen thousands of casualties, and many civilians have lost their lives because of these fights. Not just that, the cartel is notorious for their attacks on law enforcement and the Mexican government, and they do this almost fearlessly. In 2015, the cartel ambushed a group of law enforcement officers and took the lives of 15 of them. It is feared that the president might be the next one in line.
The Cartel Jalisco, they are very well consolidated as one group. And so that means that they can really put up really organized attacks against the Mexican government.
We can say that Jalisco New Generation is enemy number one of President Enrique Peña Nieto's government now.
Their tales of brutality also include public displays of violence and beatings, and no one is safe from their grasp, not even innocent citizens. Fed up with constant invasion, a number of community police organizations have popped up in various cities. For example, there is one in Akia. The community police fight the cartels and are constantly attacked by its members. The community police team is undoubtedly dedicated, and they do their job well. But can the cartel truly be controlled in this way? The fighters sound terribly exhausted from the constant state of war, and they too want a ceasefire. But without any help from the authorities, they are uncertain if they will live another day if they don't fight back on their own.
Lo que sí hay la necesidad es de la seguridad. Y lo que le exigimos al gobierno y le exigimos a los mandos de gobierno es seguridad. Yo tengo 7 años con un rifle colgado. Estoy hasta aquí. Estoy enfadado, pero si lo suelto me matan.
The fear keeps them going day after day. Jalisco members also attack innocent civilians with drones, and the attacks have gone up in recent years. This has caused civilians to leave their homes in fear for their lives. But why harm the civilians? How are they even remotely related to their activities? And how would they gain from it? Well, experts claim that this is one of their many tactics to pressure the government into doing what they want. Killing civilians mercilessly gives them an edge over the government and creates opportunities for bargains.
And all that violence is only to have leverage in the negotiations with the government, with politicians, right? They create this chaos to go and sit with the local politicians and say like, okay, do you want more or shall we negotiate this?
When the chaos gets bigger and bigger, the government doesn't really have any other option but to accept their demands. And this is exactly how Jalisco has been winning their wars, through treachery and ruthlessness. Cartel wars over territory is an age-old tale. Mexico has seen its fair share of brutality over territories, and Cartel Jalisco has had a major part in it. They have managed to secure control over several key territories in Mexico, including Michoacán, Colima, Guanajuato, and many more, by brutal force.
They have the control of Jalisco, Michoacán, Guerrero, even Veracruz, which is a state on the complete opposite side of the country.
So where did CJNG learn their battle tricks from? They got their lessons from none other than Los Zetas, another violent cartel who had gone into a territory war with Cartel Jalisco. These wars have cost them lives, but have won them the much-coveted dominance over territories. Unfortunately, the cartel doesn't seem too worried about losing some of their men. To them, winning territory is more important than everything else. In May 2015, Jalisco Cartel engaged in a clash with law enforcement and had 42 of their members killed in a 3-hour-long gunfight. The incident took place in the small town of Guanajuato, Michoacán, and goes to show that the cartel is merciless, even when it comes to their own men.
Tomito, el dron, güey. Tráeme el dron. El dron. Tráeme el dron, güey. Las pilas.
The tales of Jalisco's violence are not far behind. They have killed hundreds of people just to prove dominance, to set an example, or simply to send a warning to the government. Law enforcement was conducting an operation to catch the leader of this group, while the members thought it would be a nice diversion to help him escape. The result? 6 people wiped off the face of the earth.
They blocked some main avenues in Guadalajara. They set buses to fire. And as you said, they managed to bring down a military helicopter with 16 soldiers on board. 6 were dead.
Citizens all across Mexico have been affected by the crazy actions of this cartel. Many have lost their lives in gunfights just because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Not only this, in 2011, Cartel Jalisco slaughtered 35 men and women, piled their bodies up in trucks, and dumped them at a place in the city of Veracruz. Onlookers watched as the gang casually left semi-naked bodies in the street, as if their lives never really mattered. This incident of in Veracruz is still one of the most brutal acts undertaken by drug cartels and is still widely spoken about all around the world. The list of such incidents is never ending. In 2019, the members of CJNG lit a bar on fire, resulting in the demise of 26 people. A member of the cartel had asked for extortion money which the bar owner had refused to pay, and it resulted in the tragic loss of lives. Many civilians also run away from their homes to save their lives. A woman had to flee from her home, leaving all her belongings behind in El Aguaje to protect her family. But she remembers an El Aguaje before all of this mayhem.
What was it like there before the violence?
Pues era un pueblito muy tranquilo, muy bonito. De hecho, vivíamos muy a gusto.
The cartel told them they were taking men away to make them fight, but they had other plans for the ones who refused to join.
Pues allí era de que te armas o te matan.
In another incident, law enforcement found severed heads discarded on the highway, which was linked to the same drug cartel. Yet authorities failed to do anything to prevent these from happening. In 2019, El Mencho disappeared. Even though he always used to stay out of sight, rumors began to circulate that he was completely excluded from their daily dealings and was either very ill or had passed away. Recent reports state that he might actually be alive, but Jalisco at this point has proven that they can function very well with or without the presence of their so-called father. In recent years, CJNG has had their eyes set on more than drugs. As of 2023, they've brutally murdered 19 innocent people to instill dominance over the local avocado trade. As avocado consumption booms in the neighboring country, Jalisco finds it a lucrative opportunity to use Mexico's fertile lands and cultivate the fruit and sell it for profit. They're also intending to get into the lime business. Both Mexican and international law enforcement agencies have been actively pursuing the CJNG to put a stop to its criminal activities and violence. The United States has designated the CJNG as a significant foreign narcotics trafficker and a terrorist organization.
Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación, CJNG, is the single criminal organization most responsible for these deaths on both sides of the border.
The United States has also offered rewards for information leading to the arrest of Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes.
Tonight, the DEA is offering $10 million for information leading to the arrest of the Mexican drug kingpin known as El Mencho.
However, some victims claim that the Mexican government is not doing enough to stop these cartels and ensure their safety.
Where's the government in all this? Are they helping you?
No sabemos sus motivos de que por qué no quieran poner un alto. Hay mucho niño de por medio, pero no, ellos no han querido tomar cartas en el asunto.
They also haven't done anything to sustain the small groups of people who are trying to build a resistance against the cartels. They earn and combine their own finances and weapons and fight against the cartel without any help from law enforcement.
El gobierno no nos ha dado ningún equipo. Ningún equipo, armas, dinero, nada de eso nos ha dado.
Upon being questioned, the Mexican president quickly sidestepped the topic and blamed it on the power structure. He believes that the higher-ups created the criminals, and therefore it's hard to find a root cause and eliminate it.
En general, si no está bien pintada la raya, la frontera entre autoridad y delincuencia, no se avanza. Y cuesta mucho más trabajo resolver el problema de la violencia.
As such, it's certain that the government can't do anything against these attacks. The number has been growing every day and has already passed the level of tolerance. No one really knows what will make the attacks stop. People are dying every day, and their loved ones don't know what to do to prevent this loss. Rather than waiting for the government to help, the indigenous community of Ostula have taken things into their own hands. They protect their territory, grow food, mine resources, and have their own ways of living. No one is allowed to enter or leave without permission, and this is the least they can do to protect their people.
Sí, es la forma que nos sentimos más seguros porque nosotros sabemos, tenemos nuestra propia organización de seguridad, entonces ya no confiamos en el gobierno, ¿verdad? Porque nosotros mismos la estamos dando.
But Cartel Jalisco is after Ostula and even recruited one of the old leaders of the community. In a recent attempt to control illegal mining, Cartel Jalisco brutally killed 3 indigenous guards. The Nahua community have stopped all mining operations since January 21, 2023, and are asking authorities to step in. But will law enforcement manage to control the rampage of Cartel Jalisco? Will the government ever try to mitigate the sufferings of these people? Will they ever bring peace and order back to the lands of Mexico? As the world grapples to fight the brutality spread by this organization, many communities like Ostula are doing everything in their power to fight back.
Pienso yo que en la medida que las personas, las comunidades sobre todo, indígenas y no indígenas, que en determinado momento determinen organizarse y resistir, todo es posible.
This sure gives the world a ray of hope, but only time will tell who will win this brutal game of life and death. Why do you think the government of Mexico isn't doing anything to prevent the brutality? Do you think the rest of the world is also affected by Cartel Jalisco's cruel acts? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Don't forget to like the video to show your support, subscribe to our channel, and press the bell for notifications for future uploads. See you soon with the next exciting story.